The.fm, I am DJ Zwane. Welcome to the Hijack. We had some technical difficulties in the previous recording, so we decided to, we made an executive decision to restart the show and see if that helped the bandwidth. I restarted the computer and all that jazz, the main streaming machine, so hopefully that works. Hey, look at that. Okay, cool. I didn't hear any skippage. So yeah, thank you for hanging out. As always, my name is DJ Zwane, and this is the second one that I've done in the last week. Normally, so this started off as a weekly show, and then it went into a once a month show because I had another show that I did that I'm bringing back. So I'll probably go back to the twice a month thing, once for the Hijack, once for Irreverent, because I did get some hey bruh messages about that. Shout out SBK with the hey bruh messages. I think he coined that term, the hey bruh, for when people were hitting him up when SBK Live was down. So anyway, have a lot of stuff to talk about here, including but not limited to some sad news. We're going to go international, and then we're going to probably go national, and then we're going to go local because there's stuff going on in all of those realms. We have a lot of stuff. We have the Chinese, we have the Turkey-Syria earthquake, we have the Grammys, the freaking Gramophone Awards. Let's see. We got the Arkansas officers. We got George Santos. I was asked, a couple of listeners hit me up, and they asked me about why didn't I mention the fact that the guys who killed Tyre Nichols were black. The cops that killed him were black. And we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about another police brutality case, this time in Arkansas. Involving some white officers, and I believe it was a white officers on a white guy. So, we got all the different flavors, all the different variations of brutality in our police departments all across the nation, from Arkansas to Memphis to New York to Florida to everywhere. But first, let's start with the Turkey and Syria, the earthquake that happened out there. Let's take a look and see what This is out of CNN. CNN is talking about the earthquake that happened in Syria. Let's try to get I'm trying to get the commercials out of the way. I find it weird that they like to. I don't want to. I get the reason that they're doing it, but it's poor taste, 7.8 magnitude earthquake. Let me see. There was a previous one that I believe. No? Nope, it's the next one. So, it's 4,300 dead in Turkey and Syria, powerful earthquake. We have in Istanbul, Turkey, more than 4,300 people died, and rescuers are racing to pull survivors from beneath the rubble in a devastating earthquake that ripped through Turkey and Syria, leaving deconstruction and debris on each side of the border. One of the strongest earthquakes in the region in a century shook residents out of their beds at 4 a.m. This was at 4 a.m. on yesterday, local time yesterday. In Turkey, at least 2,921 people were killed, and more than 15,800 were injured, according to Turkey's head of disaster service, Yunus Sezer. Prayers for Turkey and Syria. Man, that looks the video that they put out just looks awful. So our prayers go to that. There's also a lot of fundraising going on, as it happens all the time. There are streamers and things that have specific fundraisers. So look those up. I'm sure traditional media is jumping on that as well. So just make sure to support where you can and when you can, and hopefully they can get. Because the thing is that these guys, this isn't like an LA earthquake or a California earthquake. I believe when I was there, so I was there in 2019. I was in California DJing, and they had when they said that they were having an earthquake. I believe I was there for the earthquake, but I didn't feel it, and I guess I didn't feel it because the structures, the buildings that I was in, were like just the base level of protection has to be like, you have to be covered for a 10.0 earthquake or some crazy stuff like that. I'm like, really? So 10 like a 10-point earthquake is a 10 in the Richter scale. I guess that's what all of the buildings in California are coded to be built. So that was an interesting bit of information, and I was terrified for a second until they told me that part, and I was like, oh, okay, well then, hopefully we're okay then. Another thing that happened this week was the 50th anniversary. Well, the Grammys, in general, I don't really care for. I don't care about the Grammys. I never have. Even though I'm a music guy, I just the awards I just feel like are empty, and it was just like, I don't know, it's just weird. Award ceremonies are weird for me as far as music is concerned. But yeah, so they honored the 50th anniversary of hip hop. The 50th anniversary of hip hop, and it was insane. It was 13 minutes just packed for everything all the things that you can imagine, all the songs that you're like, oh my God, I remember that song. Let's see here. This is a list of who all performed in that 13-minute span. 13 minutes. We had Grandmaster Flash to the Beat or The Message, Run DMC, King of Rock, LL Cool J, and DJ Jazzy Jeff, I Can't Live Without My Radio, Rock the Bells. Salt and Pepper did My Mic Sounds Nice. Rakim, Eric B. is President. Chuck D and Flava Flav, Rebel Without a Pause. Black Thought and LL Cool J, the interlude, the Al Shabazz skit. Oh yeah, that's right. That they had like a little skit there. Yeah, like just the amount of Scarface, Ice-T, Queen Latifah did Unity. Oh my God, UNITY. Method Man did METHOD Man or Method Man. Big Boy of Outkast did ATLians. Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Could See, Busta Rhymes, and Look at Me Now. Dude, the guy is insane. I can't believe he's still able to do Look at Me Now like that. Missy Elliott did Lose Control. Nelly hot in here. Too Short, Blow the Whistle. Dude, there were so many tracks that and so many tracks that were missing. I saw an interview with Questlove, who said that he had like a 32 minutes performance, and they were like, yeah, no, they laughed him out of the office for that. So that was cool. But the Grammys in general, I mean, like, there was apparently from what I understand, the conservatives were all up in arms. This time because they apparently the Sam Smith Unholy performance, it made them freak out. Ted Cruz, old Cancun Ted goes, "This is evil." This was on the Twitters. He got on Twitter and said, "This is evil." And you know what? Here's the thing: conservatives love a culture war because they can't win on policy. Okay, and Democrats love a culture war because they don't want to rock the boat by implementing the policies that they pretend to be in favor of. That's the reality. Because I talked to George Santos. I talked about not talked to George Santos. I mean, I might have. Who knows? He would probably tell you I did. But I talked about one of the things that the Democrats, the Democrats have been using to just flog the hell out of the conservatives is the George Santos saga. And when I talked about George Santos on the last show, somebody on TikTok said that if I think Santos should resign, that why don't I believe Biden should resign too? I guess they assumed that I don't believe Biden should resign. I believe Biden should resign too, in case I hadn't made it clear. I assume, I'm assuming that they're probably new here. Because if you know me for 5 minutes, you know that I believe one of the biggest problems that we have right now is boomers and the greatest generation won't leave positions of power for the younger generation to take over. Because these people will not retire. They're the richest generation. They are the 16-year-old with a black card. They are the people that spent us into oblivion, both as a government and in regards to the way they dealt with the environment. Like, they just turned everything up to 11, all of the wasting to 11, and then they want to stay in power to do that until they croak. Yes, I do believe Biden should resign. Most of our lawmakers look like they belong in the villages. So let's send them there. And Biden should retire, not for lying, because if that's the barometer to get these people out of office, then we would end up with no government, which, come to think of it, may not be that bad. But I digress. Another YouTube commenter that talked about the policing. When I was talking about policing last time, I got a couple of comments about this because from two different angles. Number one, there was the person trying to incorrect me by saying that, in the words of Steve Hostetter, "Thank you for incorrecting me." He posted on YouTube that policing, as we see it today, was not started as a slave catching operation. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but I'm going to cover it again, okay? Slave catchers were the original sheriffs. Even the sheriff's badge looks like the slave catcher patrol badge. I mentioned it to him, and I shared a link that would help him out. Maybe dig a little bit deeper. Maybe not use just that link, but dig a little bit deeper. Do your own research, as they say. So he says that he's not going to look at it and that I was weak-minded or something. So thanks for the listen, even though you're wrong. So, but you know what? Here's the deal. I want to make sure that that we're all on the same page here. Like, if you're listening to the Hijack and you don't think that I think that Biden should retire, you don't think that, like, and you don't believe that the origins of modern day policing were slave catchers, then let's learn you something. The Tough on Crime laws, this is out of the NAACP.org, one of those liberal organizations, those liberals. Tough on Crime laws have put an unprecedented number of nonviolent offenders behind bars, and our neighborhoods feel no more secure. This system has deep roots in slavery. Slave patrols. The origins of modern-day policing can be traced back to slave patrol. The earliest of formal slave patrol was created in the Carolinas in the early 1700s with one mission: to establish a system of terror and squash the slave uprisings with the capacity to pursue, apprehend, and return runaway slaves to their owners. Tactics included the use of excessive force to control and produce the desired slave behavior. This sounds familiar. Does this sound familiar to you? It sounds familiar to me. It rings a bell. Let's see here. Oh, wow. We have the North Carolina Slave Patrol Oath. I, patroller's name, do swear that I will, as searcher for guns, swords, and other weapons among the slaves in my district, faithfully and as privately as I can, faithfully and as privately as I can, discharge. This is a run-on sentence, isn't it? As privately as I can, discharge the trust reposed in me as the law directs, to the best of my power, so help me God. That was the Slave Patrol, ladies and gentlemen. Slave Patrol. The Slave Patrol continued until the end of the Civil War and the passage of the 13th Amendment. Following the Civil War, during the Reconstruction, slave patrols were replaced by militia-style groups who were empowered to control and deny access to equal rights to freed slaves. They were relentlessly and systematically enforced. They relentlessly and systematically enforced black codes, strict local state laws that regulated and restricted access to labor wages, voting rights, and general freedoms of the formerly enslaved people. So, one of the things that, one of the dog whistles that you kind of hear is, well, if the slave, or if black people are only 13% of, see, I'm doing it with a southern accent. If black people are only 13% of the population, then how come they populate 50% of our prisons? And I was watching something online that made a really good point. How about we flip that? If there are only 13% of, if black people are only 13% of the population, then why do they make up 50%? It's not their fault. From what it looks like, and we'll continue reading, but it looks like it might be that they are less lenient with black people. That could be it. I'm guessing. Let's continue reading. In 1868, the ratification of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution technically granted equal protections of African Americans, essentially abolishing black codes, Jim Crow laws, and state and local statutes that legalized racial segregation swiftly took their place. By the 1900s, local municipalities began to establish police departments and enforce local laws in East and Midwest, including Jim Crow laws. Local municipalities leaned on police to enforce and exert excessive brutality on African Americans who violated Jim Crow law. Jim Crow laws were continued through the end of the 1960s. The end of the 1960s, people. This is like 70 years ago, 73 years ago, something like that. 63 years ago. Right now, I'm not good at math. Let's see here. This is out of the New Yorker, July 13, 2020. The crisis in policing is a culmination of 1,000 other failures. Failures of education, social services, public health, gun regulation, criminal justice, and economic development. Yeah, That's exactly right. So that, my friend, commenter, is the origins of modern day policing. And if you don't know, now you know. But speaking of modern day policing, some things that happened recently were the beating of Tyre Nichols. And one of the things that I did not mention was that he was beat by black cops. So I had a few people say, well, why didn't you mention that they were black? Why didn't you mention that they were black? And I was like, all right, like I get, all right, Jethro. But then somebody that, like, I don't believe to be a racist, that said it in good faith, asked me in good faith, was like, hey, why didn't you mention that the cops were black? So I figure that it's a fair enough question for me to answer. And this is the reason. At the end of the day, the cops, the black cops that beat and murdered Tyre Nichols, they were given the black treatment already. They were immediately taken away. Now, there were other people that said that it wasn't because he was white. It was because he was not actively beating the guy. Okay, whatever. We'll figure out what all happened there. I am just saying it's extremely curious that out of the 20 people that were there, the EMTs and everybody else, EMTs, you people are supposed to be the ones saving the people that the cops beat up so that they could go back to the cycle. And this guy didn't receive treatment for a good 20 to 30 minutes. He was asking for his mother 100 feet from his house, or a couple hundred feet from his house. And these guys beat this dude to death. Now, why did I mention that they were black? Well, because it doesn't really matter. There was no, okay, I'm not going to say there was no. There is very little chance that these guys beat Tyre Nichols because he was black. Because they themselves are black. Now, the reason that they were so cavalier about beating the shit out of this guy is because they were cops. And in this particular case, these guys were cops before they were black. These guys chased this guy down. They chased Tyre Nichols down to beat his ass and to beat him to death. Now, there's something about, I guess, one of the cops was dating Tyre Nichols' girl or something like that. Don't know anything about that. Maybe we get some extra information. But speaking of police brutality, because that is what this country is known for, beating, cops beating people. That's the thing. That's our brand. This is out of The Guardian. The Arkansas police officers were suspended after a video shows a man being beaten. I saw the video, this particular video, and I got to tell you, it was heart-wrenching to see. It was about as heart-wrenching as the Tyre Nichols case, because these guys were wailing on this dude. And this is a white guy, so I mentioned it, and they were white cops. I mentioned it. Am I cool? Are we good? Can we continue? White cops beat white guy. We had black cops beating black guy the last time. We got a nice variety pack of police brutality as we see it. So, Arkansas State Police have launched an investigation into 3 officers who were captured on video holding down and beating a man outside the convenience store in an interaction that sparked outrage on social media. The incident comes as video footage captured by body cameras and cell phones to expose aggressive and abusive police practices across the U.S. Recently, a deputy resigned after a video surfaced of him pointing his gun at a pregnant black woman during a traffic stop. Officers in Arkansas responded Sunday to a report of a man who allegedly threatened convenience store workers nearby, and then rode his bicycle to Mulberry, a town northwest of Little Rock, the Fort Smith Times reported. This is out of the Guardian. The video captured of the encounter showed an officer pinning down Randall Worcester of South Carolina to the ground as one punched him and another kneed him. Yeah, this was awful, man. Worcester. If he's from Massachusetts, he's Worcester. Worcester, 27-year-old Worcester was taken into the hospital for treatment on Sunday. After the hospital discharged him, officers booked him in a local jail on multiple charges, including second-degree battery, resisting arrest, and terroristic threatening, state police said. So the guy was, I mean, not a good guy. I mean, obviously, but the guy was also like, what is something like that? What is something that this guy could have done that would warrant an ass beating like that? And if you haven't seen it, check it out. But what is something that this guy could have done that would warrant an ass beating that looked like this? Like, I saw it. The guy was getting beat to the tune of I believe Master of Puppets by Metallica, which is a song about, you know, drug use and how drug use puts you in precarious positions and bad situations. And I mean, this is what happens. There's some sort of correlation there between the song and the thing. I don't know. But either way, the Arkansas police officers were at least suspended, which should give you a kind of an indication of the magnitude of the Tyre Nichols case. These guys were suspended after the video of the man beaten. Now, he didn't kill him. The other guys killed Tyre Nichols, and they were they were immediately arrested, except for the white guy. The black cops, cops that were black, they were black. And they were black, and they were beating a black guy. So I mentioned it. Okay, all right, cool. So anyway, speaking of the, just policing and everything like that, and the Arkansas Police Department having another scandal. How long till we admit that we have a problem with policing, like, in general? Like, how long till the Blue Lives Matter folks, how long till they go, you know what? Maybe we do have a policing problem. Maybe there is something to that. I'd like to know. What's the quota? Because I'll compile videos if that's what's necessary. Switching topics a bit for more national stuff. The suspected Chinese spy balloon. Let's see here. The balloon is down. I don't know if you guys have been living under a rock or something, but there was a Chinese spy balloon that the U.S. military shot down off the coast of South Carolina after it had traveled across much of the U.S., capturing the attention of residents and the media alike. China said the balloon was a meteorological research vessel blown off course and expressed strong dissatisfaction and protest over its drowning. So they're upset that they screwed up their civilian weather balloon. They're pissed that happened. And they're upset that you made it, you got it off course. It was your fault. You had control of it. You screwed it up. And let's be real. Not a spy balloon. Meteorological balloon. Yeah, sure. Let's see here. China said the balloon was a meteorological research, blah, 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 blah. Now the U.S. military is left to literally pick up the pieces of the wreckage as diplomats and members of Congress express concern over the incident. Here's the latest. This is out of NPR. U.S. officials are working to investigate the balloon's wreckage. Top U.S. officials say that they were able to learn about the Chinese surveillance balloon by tracking it across the country, and now they're hoping to learn even more by examining the pieces that remain after a fighter jet shot it out of the sky on Sunday. A fighter. What did they use? How much you want to bet they used a missile? I mean, it's not like we're running out of them or anything. We spend most of our money on it. In a background briefing on Saturday, 2 U.S. defense officials said that they were working with the FBI and counterintelligence authorities to recover as much debris from the balloon as possible, including whatever equipment was on board and any material of intelligence value. Yeah, that should be like the first thing on the list. That should be the first thing you should be doing. I don't care what anybody else is doing right now. Everybody back to that balloon. That is a national security issue. Like, this is actually a national security issue. There's a lot of stuff that I believe the military should not be meddling in. This here is exactly what they should be doing. Let's see here. We don't know exactly what all the benefits will derive, but we have learned technical things about this balloon and its surveillance capabilities, senior defense officials say. And I suspect that if we are successful in recovering aspects of the debris, we will learn even more. Well, there you go. There you go. Now we have another reason why we need to spend even more money on the military. That's really what it boils down to. At the end of the day, like, I wouldn't put it past the government or Raytheon or whoever to put something together that is, you know, like a fake scare in order to sell more missiles and more trinkets and more $3,000 hammers. Yeah, so that's where we are right now. Chinese spy balloons are gonna. My guess is that it means that we're gonna spend more money on the military next year, because that is what happens. And we're not gonna spend it on the personnel. We're not gonna spend it on the healthcare. We're not gonna spend it on anything else. We're going to spend it on the Raytheons and Lockheed Martins and Northrop Grummons of this world. So there's that. Let's see here. George Santos. George Santos. That whole thing about Biden and George Santos. That was a wild. That was a wild, like, accusation for me. Like, so you think that Biden shouldn't resign? Yes, of course I think Biden should resign. Yes, Biden should resign, and most members of Congress should resign. If you're under the age of 60, if you're under the age of 55, you could stay. That's what I would do. That's what I would say. That would be my my move. Let's see here. Now, on a more local situation here, we have some local situation. We have an Orlando venue, one of my favorites, to lose the liquor license for hosting a drag show. So this is out of Bungalower. Shout out Bungalower. Shout out Brendan over there, doing some great reporting on the City Beautiful. Local entertainment and concert venue landed itself in hot water with the state last December when it hosted a touring holiday-themed drag show, a move that may cost its liquor license. Back in December, the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulations of Division of Alcoholic Beverages and Tobacco, that's a mouthful, filed a complaint that the Plaza Live against the Plaza Live for allowing a performance of the touring show, Drag Queen Christmas, to take place there. A show that features drag queens from the hit TV show RuPaul's Drag Race. Let's take a look at this clip that Bungalower posted on their article that you can check out at bungalower.com. Let's see.
Queen Christmas, hosted by Nina West and Trinity the Tuck. We're coming to your city. 36 cities from coast to coast, plus very special guest Todrick Hall. Get tickets now at dragfans.com.
Okay, I don't see the problem here. I don't, what is the issue? Like, there's nothing. So, again, going back to the cultural thing. This is back to the same cultural bullshit. Let's see. The complaint accused Plaza Live of allowing for a sexually explicit drag show to be marketed to minors as a holiday-themed show, not forewarning attendees of the sexual nature of the show, and allowing entry to people under the age of 18. The Plaza was issued a formal letter on December 28th, which you can read in the December story linked above, the bungalower linked above. Following the investigation, the department since ruled that the Plaza failed to prevent minors from entering and declared that they have violated Florida laws in doing so, despite the venue posting signs at the entrance of the following message. It says, "While we are not restricting access to anyone under 18, please be advised that some think the context is not appropriate for under 18. Let's see. Is this another clip? This is another clip. Let's see. Okay, so this is another clip of what the show might look like. Again, you can check out all of this at Bungalower.
You know Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Vomit and Stupid.
All right, let's skip through.
The most famous screwed up the red nipple bandit, had a very shiny buzz.
This is... Come on. Really?
Then one soggy Christmas Eve.
I don't see... Like, I don't see anybody, like, getting banged over a reindeer or anything. I don't see what's going on here. I don't see the problem. As a result, the state will be revoking the Plaza's license for the sale and consumption of alcoholic beverages, according to a statement by Governor Santos. Press Secretary Brian Griffin, and the venue is facing 6 civil counts of statute violations. Holy crap. Yeah, shout out Brandon, and shout out Bungalower for keeping us informed on that ridiculousness. I don't understand. Well, I do understand. I understand what's going on. Again, I said it at the top of the show. The top of the show, I said, the Republicans love a culture war. The reason they love a culture war is because they can't win on policy. The reason that the Democrats love a culture war is because they don't have to rock the boat. They just have to, clap back at the culture war talks, and you're good. You're set. Now, one thing that's actually, let's see, something something that they're trying to bring back is malls, apparently, here in Central Florida. They have an Oviedo Rat Club program. That doesn't sound, I'm guessing they mean mall rat program, because it's got to be a play on the 1990s Kevin Smith film, Mallrats. Let's see. Mall Rat Club program at Oviedo Mall Oviedo Mall caters to teens. Here is the goal. Parents can enroll children 13 to 17 years of age. Let's see here. The Oviedo Mall is launching a new program called the Mall Rat. See, there it is. Mall Rat Club for teens 13 to 17 years old in an effort to bring a younger crowd. You want to bring a younger crowd? Make it like a Pokemon Go Stop or some shit. With so many malls around the country enacting curfews and escort programs for their young guests, we wanted to try a different approach. What? So there are malls around the country that are enacting curfews and escort programs for their young guests. What does that mean? That's weird. We wanted to try a different approach in effort to curb some of the issues that we've been having with teens. Director of Marketing and Events Josh Gunderson said in a news release. Starting Wednesday, parents can start enrolling children to the program to receive discounts and a list of monthly activities. The program officially begins on March 1st. Once the application has been processed, the teens and their parents will be able to visit the mall's management office to receive their membership card, which can gain them access to exclusive discounts and activities throughout the year, says the news release. Some of the discounts include 15% off District Eat and Play Auntie Annie's Legacy Taekwondo Academy, and Wizards and Lizards Craft Studio. What the hell? There will also be private movie screenings for members, gelly ball tournaments at District Eat and Play, and a private paint night at Calliope Street. The program is part of a plan to attract more shoppers to the mall, of course, which spent several years in decline before the city began discussing plans for new developments around the property. I was around for the Oviedo Marketplace Mall. They had there was a time when they had this group of people that were trying to do an edible garden, and they were trying to do a workspace there and all kinds of stuff, and they were trying to bring me into it. But I mean, I just didn't see I didn't see the way that it was going to be viable. Like, it sounded like a great concept, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't a viable one. I didn't think so anyway. So there was a so that was one of the plans. There have been other plans, like putting together, like making it into retirement homes, because all these malls are just deteriorating. The malls that I grew up in, those guys are basically, I mean, maybe the Altamont Mall is still kind of popping. Let's see here. But most of the malls, I mean, the Oviedo Marketplace Mall is a good representation of what most malls are looking at like right now. If that's the one the one on Colonial in Orlando is even worse. But either way, everybody while I'm talking about this town, while I'm talking about Orlando and Sanford in that area, this is something that's like nationwide. So that's where we are today. We are in a mall, like decrepit mall. Like the people that created the malls in the 90s were making so much money. And the ones who passed away before the decline, which the decline happened as soon as online shopping became easier. So, hopefully the Oviedo Marketplace Mall can make things pop off a little bit better there, because they sure need it. I doubt that. I can't see a situation where they're like, I guess I don't know. I don't know what teens like right now. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what can they do that is not a screen and not like, a video game or not whatever, that they could attract 13 to 17-year-old kids to the mall, to the freaking mall? When I was 13 to 17, yes, obviously, I went to the mall. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that that's going to be the savior of all that. But with all that said, my name is DJ Zwain. Thanks for hanging out. This is the Hijack. I'll be back next week. Got some really cool stuff coming up this weekend, so going to be really busy. But check me out next week or the week after. I'm going to be doing gig blog for when I go to Boston this weekend. So I'm DJing up in Boston. That's going to be a lot of fun. And aside from that, thanks for hanging out. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.